What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we'll talk about building a band brain. Being in a band comes with daily tasks that need to get done and projects you need to make progress on. This includes email, release deadlines, content and posts and so on. But if you're anything like us and most of the musicians that we have met, you've most likely gotten used to keeping parts or your entire to-do list in your head. Sure, it works if you don't have that much to do, but if your aim is to become a professional band, you'll have a lot of tasks that you need to juggle on a daily basis. The insidious problems with keeping your to-do list in your head is threefold. First of all, you'll most likely forget stuff along the way. Secondly, keeping your to-do list in your head can make it difficult to concentrate and focus on the things that you need to be doing. And finally, and probably the most important one, is that it makes it very difficult to work together with your team. No one has the faintest clue about what is being done, by who and at what time. Making mistakes and missed deadlines are a very real possibility. You need to realize that keeping your to-do list in your head is not a very safe way to store information. For example, let's imagine that your band has a gig 5 hours away from your city and you're trying to remember all of the things you need to sort prior to the gig. You'd have to think pretty hard to make sure that every element is accounted for and no details are missed. What if you wrote it down instead? It could look something like this. Check band's availability, discuss fee and details with booker, send riders to the venue, find and book rental minibus, find and book a trailer, find and book accommodation, plan driving route, book your crew, structure setlist, discuss backline with headlining band, check merchandise stock, order merchandise if necessary, pack merchandise, pack your gear. And there are obviously many more things that could go into that list, and as you can see, it piles up very quickly. If you were to memorize all of these things in your head, you might miss a thing or two. Hopefully nothing crucial, right? And what if you wanted to delegate some of these tasks to other members of your band? You could of course try and delegate the tasks through a chat and then hope that people pick up and actually do the things. Or you could be smart about it and develop yourself a task management system. In the so-called productivity space on the internet, a phenomenon has emerged in recent years called the second brain. There are many takes on what this means, but the essence is that it's a place that harbors all of your ideas, your tasks, your schedule, and your projects. The goal is to free up space and reduce clutter in your brain, your first brain, the biological one. And this in order to clear up brain power for the important and actionable things in your life or in your business. But it's also to reduce the anxiety that often comes with trying to keep things in your head and all the worrying that comes with it. Why is any of this stuff relevant to your band, you may ask? You see, building a successful band is not unlike building a startup company. You're comprised of a group of people with a shared vision and a product, sometimes several products. And you're coming together to create value for a following of buying customers. You might work with investors and distributors, your record label, and you might work with various contractors, a booking agency and management, who all rely financially on you staying sharp and staying on schedule. The key here is to start considering your band as a business instead of a hobby or some creative outlet that you have. This is at least true if you want to build a professional band and a career out of it. And doing that means treating your time and your tasks with focus and intention, and writing things down instead of trying to keep it in your head is a very good way to start. Not to mention the fact that if your band works together in a centralized place on all of your ideas, your tasks, your projects, amazing results can come very quickly and more quickly than you'd imagine. Now that you know why you should build a second brain for your band, the question becomes how. As I mentioned, there are many tools you could use to build your second brain. However, there is one tool that is very popular for all the productivity geeks out there, and that is a software called Notion. To get started using Notion, just click the link in our description and help us provide more value to you and to others in the future. In our experience, there are 6 elements that comprise a really good band management system: idea capture, tasks and task delegation, a calendar, an archive, a node database, and projects. Let's go through each of them. Think about all of the cool ideas that your band has on a daily and weekly basis. It could be new merchandise designs, it could be content ideas, or maybe even a new song. Having a centralized place where you can pop all of these ideas in so that they don't get lost in people's heads or maybe lost on a piece of paper somewhere is super valuable. So in a good band management system, you need somewhere to capture all of your ideas. The good thing about an idea capture system is that it doesn't need a lot of scrutiny. You can simply just pop your ideas in there and let them grow or let them sit. It doesn't matter. Just put them in there and make sure that you have them in a place where it's accessible later. You can go through all of your previous ideas and maybe select them once you're looking for a task to do or a new merchandise design and so on. Once an idea is ripe for action, you can simply move it down the pipeline and into your tasks database. A major portion of a task management system is obviously tasks. The tasks are the actionable items that you're working on and something that you need to be working on to maybe sustain a project. We'll come back to that later. The important thing to think about is whether a task is actionable and something that you're actively working on. If it's just an idea, keep it as an idea in your idea capture database. But if it's a task that you want to be working on and that you maybe need to be working on, you can consider it a task. An important thing about tasks is the ability to delegate them. So if you have a task database, you need to be able to see who is working on what and at what time and what is the deadline for such a task. This ensures that your band is always working on the right things at the right times and that you have the right people working on them. With tasks in Notion, it's possible to build templates and protocols that you can reuse and repurpose at all times. This comes in super handy for the tasks that are recurring, such as maybe posting or merchandise mockups or something like that. Something where you don't need to be recreating the task every time, but you can simply use a template to do it. We'll talk more about templates in later videos. The next step from your tasks is a task calendar. Within Notion, you can actually display certain properties of the tasks that you're working on, such as who is working on them, what tags they're associated with, such as content creation or maybe merchandise. And you can define how far in your task pipeline that this given task is. This could be something that is in production, something that is ready, or maybe even an idea. Once a task is completed, it's important to remove it from your task database and your task calendar. This is to reduce clutter in your system, and that brings me to the next step, which is your archive. In your archive, you'll have all of your completed tasks, projects, and also notes. The great thing about an archive is that you can revisit old tasks and maybe reuse them for templates. But another cool thing about an archive is the ability to go back and see what you've already accomplished in the past. This gives you a sense of purpose, that you can see all of the things that you've done in the past months or years even, depending on how long you've built the system for. It also makes it easier to track the progress of your band and see if you're fulfilling the tasks on time and as intended. I personally use the archive all the time, not just to reuse things, but also to just have a glance at all the stuff my band has been doing in the past. The next component of a good band management system is a note-taking system. Notes are super underrated. I use notes all the time when I'm talking to people, when I'm in meetings, when I'm brainstorming. And the cool thing about using notes in Notion is that you can just use your note and create your tasks and projects directly in there, making it super fast and super easy to do. Being able to track your notes and highlight them or favorite them is super useful because you'll be able to see all the important notes that you've taken or something that you're actively working on. You can also tie them to your tasks and projects and make sure that they are all connected. The final component is your projects. Simply put, projects are just aggregates of tasks. So this means any given task that requires several tasks to complete should be a project. This gives you a higher abstraction level from the tasks and gives you kind of a bird's eye view of the things that you're doing. A project could be a single release, a concert, a merchandise design, or something else that requires several tasks to be completed. You can add another abstraction level to it and add master projects. Your master projects would then be aggregates of projects. This could be an album release, it could be a tour, it could be something else. Something that requires more than one project to complete the master project. So as you can see, you can work your way down through the abstraction levels depending on what you're working on, what you want to see, and what you want to be doing. If you're strictly working on a single, it might make sense to work from the single project, and then you'll be able to have an overview of all the tasks that you need to be doing. But if you're working on specific tasks within your single release, you don't need to see all the rest, and you can just focus on that one task at hand. Once a project or a master project is completed, it will also end up in your archive where you can reuse it again or just go back and see what you were doing. So where do you go from here? I know it's a lot to take in with all of this second brain and task management stuff if you're not used to working in that way. And beginning to implement something like this from scratch can be quite a mouthful, which is why we have done it for you. Everything I've talked about in this video, everything in the task management systems, from ideas to tasks to notes, projects, and so on, all of it is covered in our Notion template called the BandOS. If you want to know more about the BandOS or maybe get started immediately, just follow the link in the description that will take you to our templates page on our website. And as always, if you want to join the movement of highly organized bands, then don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Give this video a like if you find it useful. And also make sure to follow us on social media and follow our website where we post articles every week about topics related to being in a band. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.